So good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, here we are about to start the session. Just give me a minute. I will be just sharing the link with the students. The PDF for today's session has already been uploaded. You can download the PDF from our Telegram group. आप PDF जो है वो डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं. So the PDF has been downloaded. Priyanshi, Pooja, Yamandeep, Durgesh Kumar, good morning. चलिए. So let's discuss this particular statement by Mahatma Gandhi ji. He is saying that people cannot hurt you without your permission. People cannot hurt you without your permission. So basically it's all up to us how competent we are, how emotionally intelligent we are. It is all about emotional intelligence. How emotionally intelligent you are will decide what will be your response. What happens when someone is saying something to us, we react to that in a certain way, and sometimes like someone may be stating some hurtful words and it will pinch you, वो आपको चुभेंगी बातें. So the major point is this, it's all about emotional intelligence. Now what's this emotional intelligence? So basically you need to have that ability to understand others' emotions, as well as you need to have proper understanding about your own emotion as well. दूसरों के emotions को समझना, as well as you have proper understanding about your behavior, that in which situation you will react, and your own emotions are under your control, so that you can have a calculated response. You can have a calculated response. Calculated specifically means that controlled response. This is what emotional intelligence is about. You need to have control on yourself. That's the major point here. So it's about understanding yourself, understanding your ability, understanding your emotions, and then coming out with calculated response and in a controlled way. In this way you will have that ability to digest multiple things, and you will not be reactive to the situations, rather you will be controlling the situations, because your response will be well articulated, well calculated. आपका response काफ़ी अच्छा होगा, काफ़ी calculated होगा. And very often in our life, in our, you can say, day to day working, we will come across these type of things, but it's about your mental state, how controlled you are, how focused you are, that will decide your reaction. So let's look into the Hindu analysis. Let's see what exactly is there for us in today's newspaper. देखते हैं आज के अखबार में हमारे लिए क्या खास है. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, here we have this news. Kerala governor says he can sack the errant ministers. Okay, now it has become a major controversy, and I am telling you this thing. The office of governor has been misused and it will remain in news multiple times for multiple reasons. तो काफ़ी अक्सर जो है ये न्यूज़ में रहते हैं. Okay, not the Kerala governor per se, and specifically in the situation where in the union there is a different party that is ruling, and in the state there is different party that is ruling. तो यूनियन और स्टेट में अगर अलग अलग पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं एंड इफ दे आर रूलिंग, देन सिचुएशन इज डिफरेंट. उस केस में सिचुएशन डिफरेंट हो जाएगी. ओके, दिस इज व्हाट इट मीन्स. नाउ you need to understand one thing. Let's look into the role of governor. Okay, if we understand the role of governor, so here is a union, center की बात करें, here is the state government. governor is the link between them. Governor is the link between them. This is how the governance is carried out in this country as per the constitutional scheme, as per the Constitution of India. तो Constitution of India के according चीजें इस तरीके से चलती हैं. Okay. Now there is another angle to this. You need to understand one thing. What's the problem? The problem is that there are chances that governor may act in a partisan way. Okay, because the appointment of governor is primarily done on the pleasure of president. Governor का appointment, governor will be working on the pleasure of president. Till the time president is wanting him to be there in office, he can stay. There are no procedures mentioned for the removal of governor. So governor साहब जो है वो president के ऊपर dependent हो जाते हैं, and dependency on president means that union government. Okay, because president is going to act on the aid and advice of the council of minister. President साहब council of minister की aid and advice पे काम करेंगे, and that aid and advice is binding on the president. Okay, so this is how situation is different in the union. So we know that with 42nd Constitution Amendment Act, okay, the suggestion from council of minister is binding on the president. तो president साहब के ऊपर जो है ये चीज binding होती है. Okay, binding on the president. This is the one point. Other point that you have to understand, now it is making things binding on the president but not on the governor. Governor के ऊपर चीजें binding नहीं हैं. Along with that, governor also has discretionary power under Article 163. That governor can act in a discretionary manner as per Article 163, and this is how sometimes become bone of contention. So in this case as well, governor is saying that I will be acting on my own because I have that constitutional power. That's a major controversy. Okay, and this is how the office of governor is already politicized. So if we go by the statistics, now he is the titular head or constitutional head at the state level, and at the state level the real head is the chief minister. Okay, he is going to head the council of minister. This is how the working arrangement is, but he is also the agent of the center. Why he has been placed as an agent of the center? Governor को as an agent क्यों बना के भेजा गया है state के अंदर? The major point is this: governor has the responsibility to make sure that administration in the state, okay, is working as per the constitutional scheme. So as per the constitutional scheme, your administration should work, and this is a major point here. So he is a real executive, means he is a nominal or constitutional executive, and CM is the real executive. CM आपके real executive है यहाँ पे, okay. But he has the responsibility to make sure that the state administration is working as per the Constitution of India. This is how he is working, and he is working as an agent. Now he holds the office under the pleasure of the president. It means that his term of office is not fixed. It is not fixed. President can remove him anytime he want, and there are no provisions laid down for the removal of governor in your constitution. So everything depends upon the president. Along with that, he has discretionary power. So Article 163 says that he will be aided and advised by chief minister and council of minister unless he is performing a function at discretion. तो अगर वो अपने discretion पे काम कर रहे हैं, then he can listen to himself, and this is how it becomes a bone of contention. Okay, तो ये एक major bone of contention बनता है. So one student is asking, sir, can you please give more examples to cite how 42nd Amendment has ensured a binding or president by council of minister? See, these days देखिए हुआ क्या था. Indira Gandhi brought the 42nd Amendment Act, okay, and she wanted to assure that whatever instruction that she is giving, it is to be fulfilled, it is to be approved by the president. और मैडम गांधी ने जो है 1976 के अंदर 42nd Amendment लेके आए थे वो, emergency का time था, so she was the only one, okay, and she wanted to make sure that no one should defy her, भी कोई मैडम गांधी जी को मना ना करे. Now in 1977 there was जनता गवर्नमेंट that was in rule. इंदिरा गांधी जी की सरकार गिर गई थी इमरजेंसी के बाद. 77 में जनता गवर्नमेंट थी. जनता गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो कंटिन्यूड दिस अरेंजमेंट. तो जो 42nd अमेंडमेंट का अरेंजमेंट था, दैट बाइंडिंग, दैट द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर विल बी बाइंडिंग ऑन द प्रेसिडेंट, इट वॉज कंटिन्यूड and it became a norm. The major point is this, why it has been included, क्यों इसे binding बनाया गया है, because sometimes it may develop into constitutional crisis. ये constitutional crisis हो जाता है, okay, because you need to understand one thing. In this Kerala case जो गवर्नर साहब ने किया है, he refused to sign a bill. केरला के अंदर हुआ क्या है, the governor साहब is refusing to sign a bill. Now it's a classical case of constitutional crisis. The matter will be taken to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court will intervene, but till the time court is going to decide, time is already lost. So they didn't want to have this type of constitutional crisis situation at the union level, and considering this point, the 42nd amendment was continued. President can send the bill back to the government for reconsideration only once. रिकंसिडरेशन के लिए तो राष्ट्रपति बिल को भेज ही सकते हैं. ओके, दिस इज हाउ थिंग्स आर. सो लुकिंग इनटू दिस थिंग, नॉर्मली प्रेसिडेंट ही डजंट से नो टू द बिल, he will accept it because he knows he is in the constitutional position and he has to act as per the constitution. President does have powers like pocket veto, and if he want to stall the governance process, stall a particular bill, he can use the pocket veto. There is no time limit binding on him to approve it. तो प्रेसिडेंट साहब के पास कोई भी ऐसी चीज बाइंडिंग नहीं है. दिस वॉज द ओवरऑल प्रोसीजर. ओके, नॉर्मली कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं होती है. वन मोर थिंग, देयर वॉज दिस इंसिडेंट व्हेन प्रणब मुखर्जी वॉज द प्रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया, एंड एट दैट टाइम मोदी जी वॉज इशूइंग लैंड ऑर्डिनेंस. तो मोदी जी लैंड ऑर्डिनेंस, लैंड बिल को लेके आए थे, एंड ही इशूड मल्टीपल ऑर्डिनेंसेस. 3-4 times that ordinance was continued. Pranab Mukherjee was not happy with this. He was not happy that why the government is using the ordinance route. Why are they not passing it in a parliament? That refusal just woke up the government. Immediately a senior minister was sent to the president to explain the situation to him. So president does have these powers, he has the influence, and his words are critical. They are taken very seriously by the parliamentarians. This is the point here. So I hope it is clear, Ravi. चलिए, so we'll move to the next part. आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं और क्या खास है. So here directly we'll move to the editorial section. सीधा editorial section पे चलेंगे. Okay, so just give me a minute. There is some work going on. Okay, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Actually, some construction is going on. Just give me a minute. Sorry for the disruption, there is some construction going on. Okay, चलिए. So I am Rishabh, please shoot your doubt, whatever is your doubt, I will clear that doubt. चलिए, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं अब हम. So this is the editorial that we have today. Okay, this editorial has been written by M.K. Narayanan. He was our former national security advisor, and he is one of the best officers that we have in Indian police service. Okay, that we had. Now he is pointing towards new things. He is saying that the nature of warfare is changing in this country. The nature of warfare has changed, and these days you need to understand cyber threat is also creating troubles. I hope you remember this thing. When Doklam crisis was going on between India and China, there was an incident of cyber attack on power system of Mumbai. Mumbai's power system was disrupted. That's the point here. This is what we are saying. Mumbai का power system यहाँ पे impact हुआ था और ये reality है. So the question is this: how prepared we should we when we look into the cyber threat? जब हम cyber threat की बात करते हैं तो हमें कितना prepare होना चाहिए? You need to understand, normally when there is a warfare between two countries, it is primarily between the armed forces. Okay. So normal warfare में the exchanges are between the armed forces. They will shoot us, we'll shoot them down. Okay, this is how it is. Other point is this: in the cyber warfare, the arena will be widened, the space of activity will be widened, and it is not going to confine to the armed forces, rather the impact will be there in the civilian areas as well. Civilian areas के अंदर, civilian life के अंदर हर जगह इसका impact आपको देखने को मिलेगा. This is the nature of the new warfare. This is how things have changed significantly. ये नई reality है. And this is what Mr. M. K. Narayanan is saying, that while preparing for cyber threat, cyber war, we need to develop our capability. We should not confine just to the armed forces. सिर्फ आर्म्ड फोर्सेस तक हमें जो है यहाँ पे इसको नहीं रखना है, आपको बाकी एरियाज के बारे में भी सोचना पड़ेगा. Another important point is this: these days there is a trend that in a cyber warfare the attack will be there on critical infrastructure of the country. Okay, so critical infrastructure की बात करेंगे अगर हम, so critical infrastructure primarily includes the computer networks in your country, the power networks in your country जहाँ से आप बिजली का पूरा transmission करते हो, and all those areas. Okay, those areas will be targeted. So you need to develop the capability to protect yourself. There is another question attached to this. That question says that should we have the offensive capability? क्या हम में offensive capability होनी चाहिए? Offensive means that suppose we want to carry out cyber attack on some other country. Right now you are just working to protect yourself. इधर आप सिर्फ अपने आप को बचाने के लिए काम कर रहे हो, आपको दूसरों को भी अटैक करना पड़ सकता है. So for that the question is this: should we militarize? Okay, should we militarize the cyber space? क्या वाकई आपको लगता है साइबर स्पेस को मिलिटराइज करने की जरूरत है? Should we have separate cyber command? Because this is the reality. Armed forces across the world are now moving towards cyber command. So the point is this: should we also have these capabilities? That's the question here. And this is what Mr. M. K. Narayanan is saying. He is saying that we need to think beyond all these things. You have to widen up your scope, that don't confine yourself only to the military ability. Think about protection arrangements in the civilian areas as well. This is what he is sending us as a message. Okay. So Solus Magus is asking, sir, is it possible a cyber war in future? Definitely we can't rule it out. I just told you about this thing. When Doklam crisis was going on, there was an attack on Mumbai power grid as well. Mumbai power grid के ऊपर भी attack हुआ था. Okay, and this is what was acknowledged by the Home Minister of Maharashtra. Galwan incident के time पे भी कुछ गड़बड़ हुई थी. Okay, this is what the situation is. Other point is this: which is more harmful, cyber warfare or nuclear warfare? Both are harmful. I cannot, you can say, compare them. Apple and oranges cannot be compared. Both are equally harmful. They are real threats. We can't compare them. Threat is a threat. You have to prepare for it. To deal with the nuclear warfare, your preparation will be different. To deal with the cyber warfare, your preparation will be different. As simple as that. But here in the cyber warfare, the major point is this: we need to include participation of the civilians as well. The common people, they also need to be participating to avoid the threat. If you have aware citizenry, if citizens know about these developments, they are aware, they can protect themselves to some extent. वो अपने आप को भी बचा पाएंगे. This is what is required here. Okay, so this editorial is pointing towards these things. So they are saying that convergence of emerging technologies alongside new hybrid usage poses several challenges. Okay, this is how things are, and conventional warfare and the cyber attacks, they are combined now these days. Okay, दोनों जगह से एक तरीके से अटैक किया जाता है, एक तरफ आपको साइबर अटैक करके परेशान करेंगे, दूसरा मिलिट्री अटैक भी अपना चलता रहेगा. सो मिक्स करके आजकल आगे हम चल रहे हैं. ओके, now he is saying about this thing that dealing with the cyber attack requires versatility and imaginative thinking. If you are thinking in a normal terms, you won't be able to deal with it. The point is this, one point is this, we cannot tackle cyber warfare alone. We need to have like-minded countries along our side. We need to have good friends with the help of whom we can develop the abilities to deal with these threats. ये चीज होनी चाहिए. Okay. Other point that they are saying that yes, there is a demand to have a separate cyber command, but that is not adequate. You need to have some role for the civilians as well, because here major impact will be on their life. The arena of war will be civilian areas, civilian cyberspace. आपकी और मेरी जो है IDs हैक होंगी, ये चीज गड़बड़ है. ओके, सो वी नीड टू डाइवर्सिफाई दीज थिंग्स. थोड़ा हमें दूर का सोचना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे. दैट्स द पॉइंट, एंड वी नीड टू हैव द एबिलिटी. Another point that it is raising, that normally we used to consider that technology is a solution to the problems that we are facing in our life, and technology is like that only. But these days technology themselves are developing new problems. You have to prepare for this. The point that we are making is this: you have to update your ability, because the way the growth, the development is going on, the technology development is going on in the cyberspace, it is exponential. चीजें बहुत फास्ट बदल रही हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत जल्दी आउटडेटेड हो रही है. सो यू नीड टू हैव दैट एबिलिटी. यू हैव टू रन विद द टाइम, यू हैव टू अपडेट योर लॉज विद द टाइम, यू हैव टू अपडेट योर एबिलिटीज विद द टाइम, स्किल्स विद द टाइम. दिस इज व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड हियर. ओके, अगर हम ये सोचेंगे एक कमांड बना के बैठ जाएं और चीजें ठीक हो जाएंगी, नो, इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. It is a constant process. You have to develop your ability constantly. Okay. Ravi Chaudhary saying, sir, can misleading information regarding military and economic situation of the country also a part of cyber threat? Yes, it's a cyber threat. Why I am saying this? Misinformation is a cyber threat. Rather, it's a very big threat. You need to understand one thing. These days, the warfare is about perception. Okay. In the warfare, your enemy will try to change the perception of the masses. मासिस का परसेप्शन बदल दिया जाता है. मासिस का परसेप्शन कैसे बदलेंगे? बाय मिस इंफॉर्मेशन. ओके, दे विल ट्राई टू पुट वन थिंग, दैट योर गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट कैपेबल. योर गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट कैपेबल इनफ. Your government is not capable enough to defend you, and the response will be, people will start distrusting the government. So without firing a single bullet, they will end up achieving their logic, achieving their objective. That's the point here. This is how misinformation is also part of the warfare, because you can change the perception of the masses, and specifically in country like India, we are a democracy. Perception of the masses, they are critical. Just think about it. Your soldiers are fighting on the border areas, and here the country is not trusting them. The country is not trusting them due to this misinformation. Your opponent will try to overpower your thought process, that your opposition is very big, very dangerous. If you fight with them, you will be destroyed, everything will be ruined. This is how information warfare is placed. You try to demotivate your opponent. आप अपने ओपोनेंट को डीमोटिवेट करते हो. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. दिस इज व्हाट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. परसेप्शन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई होप यू फॉरगॉट वन थिंग. देयर वाज अ वीडियो दैट वाज वायरल्ड. ओके, वन BSF जवान, he had some issues with the department, and he said that good quality food is not given to us. तो BSF के एक जवान ने एक वीडियो YouTube पे बनाया और डाला कि हमारे को जो राशन है, गुड क्वालिटी फूड नहीं मिलता है. ओके, नाउ जस्ट ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम देयर वर मल्टीपल वीडियोज रिलीज्ड बाय पाकिस्तानी आर्मी स्टेटिंग दैट, शोइंग दैट दे आर ईटिंग गोश्त, दे आर ईटिंग मीट, मटन, कि कि भी पाकिस्तानी आर्मी जो उनके पाक रेंजर्स हैं वो बीफ खाते हैं, वो मटन खा रहे हैं, दे आर गेटिंग क्वालिटी फूड, and here on the other side of the border Indian jawans are struggling. So it's about the perception that they wanted to create. They wanted to create the perception in the minds of Indian soldiers that their armed forces are not taking care of them. This is how things are being played. Okay, so information से भी इस टाइप की गड़बड़ होती है. रवि, is it clear? चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. So here we have the other editorial which is talking about recovery analysis that points out what India got wrong. Okay, see, there are some statistics which are really alarming. These statistics should be an eye opener for us. Okay, the point is this, हम ease of doing business करते रह जाएंगे लेकिन चीजें बदल नहीं रही हैं. We have to think some things in a different way now. That's the point that is being raised here. So if you look into the numbers, it says that the global poverty rate increased from 8.4% to 9.3% in 2020. COVID impact is definitely there. Poverty rate has gone up. This is over the first time in last 2 decades things are happening. Global inequalities have widened, and these things are quite visible in India as well, because if you remember the clear picture where migrants were walking on the street, migrants जो हैं वो पैदल चल के जा रहे हैं, and my life, your life might not have been impacted due to COVID. ऐसा हो सकता है कि आपकी और मेरी लाइफ में ज़्यादा impact ना पड़ा हो, because online classes were going on. Not in the classroom, we were teaching from the studio. Same is the case at your end. Not in the classroom, you were receiving the guidance, the information, knowledge through your lectures, online lectures. This is how things were. But सबके साथ ऐसा नहीं था. So the impact of COVID was different on different sections of the society, and the poorest sections of the society, they paid the highest price for this. सबसे ज़्यादा नुकसान पूरे सेक्शन को हुआ था. This is what we need to understand here. Now there is one report which is telling us few things. They are saying that there is some fault with the fiscal policy that the government adopted to handle the COVID. Fiscal primarily means it is linked with the tax, it is linked with the government expenditure. सरकारी खर्चा कहाँ हो रहा है, कहाँ से टैक्स आ रहा है, रेवेन्यू कहाँ से आ रहा है, उससे रिलेशन पूरा मामला फिस्कल पॉलिसी के अंडर डील होता है. Now it was said that poorer countries, they were unable to use the fiscal policy effectively. हम भी नहीं कर पाए because tax rates were not reduced, and specifically indirect tax rates. अब हम indirect tax rate की बात करते हैं, वो चीज हमने कम नहीं किए थे. We didn't reduce the GST slabs. Rather, in the present time, GST has been imposed on the dairy products. अगर आपको एक चीज मालूम होगा, आज की डेट में dairy products के ऊपर GST लगाया है. Now milk will be consumed by poor as well as the rich. If prices are increasing due to increase in taxes, it will be the poor section of the society which will pay the highest price. आपकी और मेरी लाइफ पे शायद इतना असर ना पड़े, but the poor person who is there on the street, he will fight for that 1 or 2 rupee. उसके बारे में सोचिए जरा. That's the point here. Okay, so we need to keep this thing in the mind. Now poorer countries were unable to use fiscal policy as effectively, thus they were unable to offset the impact of the pandemic to a much lesser degree than a richer country. As simple as that. The report identifies 3 priorities for fiscal policy. अब 3 priority इन्होंने डाली थी. One is the targeted subsidies that benefited the poor, public investment to build resilience in the long term, okay, and the third point is revenue mobilization that should rely on progressive taxation rather than indirect tax. हमें प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्सेशन लेके आना चाहिए था, प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्सेशन पे फोकस करना चाहिए था, इनकम टैक्स थोड़ा कम करना चाहिए था, so that people would have had more money in their hand and they could have gone for spending. But instead of dealing with this, हमने GST के ऊपर फोकस किया. That was not a right approach, because एक बिस्किट का पैकेट पार्ले जी का जो होता है वो तो गरीब भी खरीदेगा. जरूरी है कि गरीब को ज्यादा टैक्स देना पड़े. And how can you equate that a poor person buying a Parle-G and a rich person buying a Parle-G ending up with the same amount of money? और नौकरी किसकी जा रही है? पुअर की तो नौकरी गई लॉकडाउन की वजह से. जो सर्विस सेक्टर में थे, they were sitting at their home and there was work from home. There was not much a problem for them. This is how things were different. So there are some statistics which says that 5.6 crore people, they are likely to have slipped into poverty in India. 5.6 crore लोग ज़्यादा poverty में चले गए होंगे. Now you can note it down this particular statistics and you can use it in your GS paper 3, because there the question can be asked. In essay these statistics can be used. The other point is this: the population below poverty in India stood at 10% in 2020. As per the expected things, it should have been reduced, but वो एकदम stagnant था. Other point is this: government did provided some fiscal stimulus, but it didn't address consumption. आपको और मेरे को फ्री में पैसा नहीं दिया गया था. That stimulus that the government provided, आत्मनिर्भर package, it was for the companies in a credit form. उनको लोन सस्ते करके दिए गए थे, so that they can manage their arrangement. Their installments were stopped. 3 महीने के लिए उनको बोला था कि आप अपने लोन की इंस्टॉलमेंट मत दीजिए. That was done. But what about the demand side? आम जनता के हाथ में पैसा नहीं होगा तो they will not buy things, and that was the point here. So if we would have reduced the taxes, people would have had more money in their hand. अगर हम टैक्स कम कर देते जनता के हाथ में ज्यादा पैसा होता. That was the point here. So majority of your financing were आत्मनिर्भर package was dealing with the credit lines. That was the point here. तो ज्यादातर वो credit line के साथ deal कर रहा था. Okay. Other point that they are coming out with this, the only saving grace was announcement of 80 crore people, they will get food aid under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, and we ended up spending 3.9 lakh crore. But was it a real solution? Was it a real solution? What about the job prospects? And I am telling you this thing, it was not just one event, this COVID, which has impacted the Indian economy. If you look into the past, demonetization से चीजें start हुई थी, then it was implementation of GST which was faulty, and then it was COVID, and now it is Ukraine-Russia war. These were the sequences. In last 6 years, 7 years, things have been like this. Trouble after trouble, your economy is dealing with it. So situation has not been that fruitful for us. And right now, despite spending 3.9 lakh crore in Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, the outcome is India is at 107th place out of 121 in Global Hunger Index. तो अगर ये इतना इफेक्टिव था तो ये रैंकिंग इंप्रूव होनी चाहिए थी ना. It means that we were lagging behind in certain areas. There was measure by the government reduction on corporate tax from 30% to 22%. Corporate tax तो कम हुआ. What about income of the people? Government should have thought about those things as well. That's the point here. So we'll move to the next editorial. Next editorial is on judiciary. Okay, it is talking about few things, few technicalities that are there in the judicial system. It is saying about this thing that as a norm, a constitution bench of the Supreme Court, it delivered a judgment which says that larger bench will prevail over the decision of smaller bench. Larger bench will prevail over a decision of smaller bench. Okay, and this is problematic. This is problematic because here you are just going by arithmetic. आप सिर्फ यहाँ से एक arithmetic number पे जा रहे हो. Just think about it. If there is a 5 judge bench and that 5 judge bench comes out with the judgment, एक 5 judge bench का judgment था और 5 judge bench comes out with the judgment with the ratio 3:2, that 3 judges were in favor, और जो decision लिया गया वो था A was the decision, okay, and B was rejected. B reject हुआ, A accept हुआ और B reject हुआ with 3:2. The matter was later taken to the 7 judge bench. अब ये 7 judge bench के पास जाता है मामला, and here suppose the judgment is with the say 6:1, 6:1 से आया. Now there is no problem with this judgment. 6:1 से आया और A को ही दोबारा अपहोल्ड किया, तो इसमें तो कोई प्रॉब्लम आपको नजर नहीं आ रही है. It will appear to be right. वे 7 जज बेंच ने भी सही कर दिया. The problem will be, suppose this 5 judge bench comes out with a judgment, say 5:0. 5 judge bench comes out with the judgment, say 5:0, and they say that A is right. Later the matter will go to the 7 judge bench. It was reviewed. Okay, अब 7 judge bench judgment, it is saying that with ratio 3:4 B is right. With ratio 3:4 B is right. And this arrangement says that the judgment of the larger bench will prevail over the decision of smaller bench. The judgment of larger bench will prevail over the decision of smaller bench. यहां तो 5 के 5 जज बोल रहे थे A right है. Here only 4 judges were saying that B is right. But this will be the final judgment. The final outcome will be B is right. That's the problematic part here. This is the controversy. That we have to think beyond these things. इन चीजों से थोड़ा बाहर निकल के सोचना पड़ेगा हमें. We cannot work like this. Okay, this is what it is telling us. This is what this editorial is saying, that this number game, that decision by courts just with the arithmetic is not right, because it will undermine the importance of reasoning. आप किसी भी हालत में reasoning को undermine नहीं कर सकते हो. Court is saying that here in the larger bench, the debate and discussion will take place among more judges. So as debate and discussion will take place among more judges, they think that the larger bench will have more wisdom. But what about the wisdom of those 5 judges? They were also Supreme Court judge. इन 5 judges का क्या हुआ? Will you undermine their wisdom? That's the point that is being raised here. So we need to devise a certain way. And that outcome is this: we have to make an arrangement that if the matter is being taken from 5 judge bench, it should be taken to the 7 judge bench. 7 की जगह 9 judge bench के पास जाना चाहिए. Okay, अगर 5 judge bench का मामला है, directly if you want to review it, it should be taken to the 9 judge bench. That's the point here. वो सीधा 9 judge bench के पास उनको लेके जाना पड़ेगा. This is the point. This is the point. So Nandini is asking, sir, if government provides tax reduction benefits to the companies, then this will indirectly benefit to the workers of the companies as well, as companies will not seize the workers. Okay, see, the point is very simple. It all depends upon whether the company is passing on the benefits to the workers or not. Yes, we do understand you have to give support to them so that they can carry out the economic activity. But precisely you were saying that it will definitely help the workers. It depends upon the company. वो company के ऊपर depend करता है. This is the point here. Whether they might not go with the welfare policies for the workers. It's up to them. It's their company policy. We cannot force things on them. So we cannot be so sure that by reducing the taxes, the benefits will be passed on to the workers. उस चीज को लेके हम अश्योरिटी के साथ नहीं बोल सकते. चलिए, so let's move to the next part. आगे चलते हैं. So Hindi opposition and its discontent. So again this issue is there. See, language is very close to our heart, and multiple times in a diverse linguistic country like India, it has erupted as a issue. Major issue रहा है. Specifically in the recent time, one parliamentary committee came out with the recommendation that Hindi should be the medium of instruction in central institutions of higher education. Right now it is English. Okay, Hindi को involve करने के लिए, promote करने के लिए, this arrangement has been made. Now they are pointing towards few things. Regional languages, specifically the states which are non Hindi speaking states, they have issue with this because they will think this as an imposition of Hindi. इस चीज को लेके they have a doubt that rather this thing should be stopped. Imposition of Hindi nahi hona chahiye, and in the past this country had witnessed major issue related to the language. So right now there are some other developments that signage on highways in Tamil Nadu, they are also changed from English to Hindi, and this has not gone well with the political establishment on Tamil Nadu. They have pointed out this thing that it is not right. So during the constitution making process, the Constituent Assembly debated this issue, and there was a voting which was done which stated that Hindi would be accepted as the official language. Hindi will be accepted as the official language. Okay. So the point is very simple. For you and me, Hindi, we are comfortable with Hindi because we are living in a Hindi belt. But this might not be the case for the person who is living in a Hindi belt. For that person, English or Hindi is equally difficult because he has to move out of the comfort zone. Mother tongue different hai, he will be moving out of the comfort zone. It's a difficult task for them. So we need to understand this particular point. And Official Language Act initially suggested that Hindi is going, means English is going to be there as the official language for 15 years. In 1965 it was to be given up, but Jawaharlal Nehru in 1959 promised the non-Hindi speaking states that English would continue to be there. Okay, no one is forcing you, English जो है वो रहेगा, आप English के through communicate करेंगे. This is the point here. Now what's the solution to this debate? The major solution is this: instead of imposing these things, directly dictating that this is what we want to do, government, specifically the union government, should try to make consensus among the political leaders, discuss it with the political leaders, instead of imposing things on them, because if you are imposing things, there will be repulsion from the other side. So persuade them. Persuasion should be the right strategy to be followed here. This is how we can definitely work upon with some solution. So अब हम आगे चलते हैं. So this is what we covered. Okay, so सीधा देखते हैं. So we covered the editorials. So editorials भी हमने cover किए यहाँ पे. Okay, and this is what we discussed. So it's all political. Okay, it's political. There is nothing we will be covering. Okay, चलिए आगे चलते हैं. So here we have this thing: Interpol has no role in curbing the state-sponsored terrorism. Okay, so Interpol, like secretary, he is also pointing towards one thing. He is saying that only 1% of the transaction for terror funding is detected, and terror funding is one thing. Without fighting against terror funding, it is difficult to deal with this problem. Terrorism के साथ अगर आपको deal करना है, so you have to stop the terror funding. This is what is required, and to stop it, we need to have cooperation among different countries. सभी countries के साथ में मिलके आपको काम करना पड़ेगा. That's the point. This is what he is saying. Other than that, okay, so there is nothing much. कुछ खास नहीं है. So here again, about 41.5 crore Indians out of multi-dimensional poverty since 2005-6. Okay, so here is the statistics which is saying that things are right for us. There are few things that we are doing. 4.1 crore people, they exited poverty in India, and it's a really good number. It's a really good achievement when we look into the multi-dimensional poverty. Okay, still there is a scope that we need to completely wipe out poverty from Indian land, but this development is important. Okay, the way government is running the policies, it's a really good thing. So Atmanirbhar package or the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, it really helped. It really helped us. No doubt, there is a fight that we have to deal. Okay, तो कुछ चीजें हैं जो हमें ठीक करनी है, but this achievement is really good. Other point is this report. Now this is a prelims related content. You just note it down. Prelims के लिए है ये. This report that is related to multidimensional poverty index. This report is produced by UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. So these two bodies are associated with the issuing of this report. So we have to note it down. ये भी आपको note down करना पड़ेगा. Prelims के लिए है ये. Okay. So we'll move to the next. सीधा आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं और क्या खास है. तो international page पे देखते हैं कुछ खास आया है क्या. Other than that, there is nothing much. कुछ खास नहीं. Okay. So Modi ji inaugurates one nation one fertilizer. Okay, so Modi ji is working with this idea, and the major point is this: 600 Kisan Samriddhi Kendra and one nation one fertilizer scheme will be started. Okay, so basic point is this: when it comes to availability of fertilizers in the country, there is disparity among different states. अलग अलग states में हमें disparity देखने को मिलती है, and to address this, to have a uniform arrangement, the Modi ji is working with this idea of one nation one fertilizer. Along with this, 600 Kisan Samriddhi Kendra, they will also be inaugurated. So we have to do these things to make sure that the income of farmers improve, because major chunk of your population is still dependent on agriculture. So we have to help them out. We have to help them out. Farming, agriculture is already under distress right now. So these supports are really good things. Okay, so we need to continue these things. So आगे चलते हैं. So here we have the international page in front of you. Okay, so Britain junks the tax measures. Okay, तो इन्होंने कुछ taxation से related rules लेके आए थे ये. Okay, and they are now moving away from that. So this is how things were. See, this is why this economic crisis is developing, because right now each and every European country is under stress, because their energy budget has inflated, their energy expenditure has inflated. That's the problematic thing which is causing a major trouble to them. उनका energy budget बढ़ गया है तो उनको problem हो रही है वहाँ पे. Okay, because you have to subsidize the people. How will you subsidize the people? For that you have to impose taxes, because without revenue you cannot continue your subsidy stream. This is a challenge for them. Okay, and this is what Russia is capitalizing on. Russia भी इस पे ही capitalize कर रहा है कि ये लोग under pressure आएंगे, then they will listen to me. This is the point, and this is not just confined to Ukraine, this UK. Different European countries, they are undergoing these type of crisis. Okay, तो इस type की crisis situation चल रही है वहाँ पे. So आगे बढ़ते हैं. So economy is poised to consolidate, recovery set to quicken. This is what RBI officials are saying. So they are saying that macroeconomics in India are not that stressed, things are improved, festive season is there, people are going to spend money. And you look into the Indian economy. Indian economy is primarily, अगर आप Indian economy को देखेंगे, so Indian economy is, you can say, consumption based. तो हमारी economy consumption based है. Okay, Indian economy is consumption based. What people are consuming, it has impact. So when you have consumption based economy, there are chances, if people are consuming things, so your economy will boost, and this is the festive season where people spend money. That's the point here. So that's why our economy will consolidate in the coming time. This is what we have in today's session. Thank you very much.